with this week's weather forecast, here's UNL Extension State Climatologist Al Dutcher.
Well, folks, here we are again for the weekly forecast. Before we get to the main forecast, let's take a retrospective look at what this significant snow system that came out from the central and southwestern United States and also developed a fairly significant snowstorm across most of Nebraska. And then, of course, that system is now lifting toward the upper Great Lakes region. We did see some very heavy snowfall across the I-80 corridor. As we got into the western portion of the Panhandle, of course, precipitation totals dropped off. But this was, again, very welcome in terms of moisture. It's not going to undo the drought by any extent, but we need to see numerous types of storms of this magnitude as we progress through the next couple months to give us a semblance of hope that we can build some sufficient soil moisture recharge. The problem with this storm is that we had some pretty significant cold air move in prior to the storm, so we did, again, freeze our surfaces. So much of the snow may not make it into the profile, but we still have to have the runoff to start refilling our stock ponds and getting our hydrological situation a little bit more in balance. Now, the bad news is we do have another snowstorm that is potentially taking aim at Nebraska as we get into late Sunday and then carrying on all the way through Tuesday. So let's get right to the forecast and see what we might expect as we go through this next 7-day period. And as we go to the upper air maps, what we are going to notice is the upper air low that was responsible for our heavy snow is now sitting over the Great Lakes. There's another piece of energy that's starting to move through the mid-Mississippi River Valley. You'll notice there's a little streak right here, and there is some energy that might be crossing eastern Nebraska. It might generate some flurry activity, but for the most part, we're looking at some fairly benign conditions as we go through today. Now, as we go into tomorrow, what we're going to notice is that storm system starts to make its way out into the Plains region, and we do expect some snowfall to start increasing in intensity across the Panhandle and the western Sandhills as we get into tomorrow afternoon and evening, and then that will translate itself eastward across the state. So by the time we get to Monday, we're looking at the storm system starting to wrap itself up across eastern Nebraska, and this is very concerning because the models do keep this in place all the way through Tuesday. So this may not be a real heavy snow for a short burst of time, but a prolonged snow event that could last all the way into Tuesday as the storm slowly makes its way to the Great Lakes region. Yet another system is coming through the southern stream. Now, right now it's keeping it just south of Nebraska, but if this lifts a little bit farther northward, we could be looking at an additional piece of snow that will start to generate activity across Nebraska, particularly in the Wednesday-Thursday time frame, but I'm thinking it's going to stay south of us. So it would not surprise me by the time this is all said and done with it, we'll have locations in the state that will have a good 2 foot of snow on the ground, and that means it's going to hold temperatures back for a considerable amount of time, and we're not going to see the rapid warm-up that we did last spring. Now, the time we get to Thursday, we'll start to see that low transitioning toward the Great Lakes. You'll see ridging starting to build in, and as we get into Friday, that ridge starts to be ever closer, so we will see a definite warming trend. So let's take a look at the numbers. If we look at the numbers, we're going to be looking at primarily temperatures that are going to be well below normal, heavy snow starting to move in the state, particularly on the Monday time frame, be exiting out eastern Nebraska sometime Tuesday, and then we get a general clearing trend as we go toward the end of the week, and we'll start to see temperatures moderating back toward more normal conditions. In terms of the 8 to 14-day forecast, that cold air is going to shift to the east. With that ridge building to the west, we'll see warmer temperatures, and of course with that ridge and no precipitation, we would expect below normal precipitation.